Childhood and Paths to Power. To Men, One Nation, Different Destinies. Alexander Hamilton, the orphan who built a nation. Alexander Hamilton was born around 1755 or 1757 on the small Caribbean island of Nevis. His father abandoned the family when he was young, and his mother died when he was about 11. Orphaned and impoverished, Hamilton was forced to fend for himself early on, but he was brilliant. After writing a vivid account of a hurricane that struck the island, impressed townsfolk raised funds to send him to New York for a proper education. He enrolled at King's College, now Columbia University, and quickly became involved in the revolutionary movement. During the American Revolutionary War, he served as aide-de-camp to George Washington, earning the general's trust. After the war, Hamilton became the first Secretary of the Treasury. He was the chief architect of America's financial system, creating the national bank, federal tax system, and a unified economic foundation. He was also the principal author of the Federalist Papers, foundational texts for the U.S. Constitution. Hamilton was a visionary, brilliant, bold, and relentless, but also arrogant and sharp-tongued. His talent made him many enemies. On the other side of the battle line, Hamilton's opponents are Aaron Burr, the silent strategist. Aaron Burr was born in 1756 into a prominent New Jersey family. His father was the president of Princeton University. His mother, a daughter of the famed theologian Jonathan Edwards. Orphaned by the age of 2, Burr was raised by relatives in a cultured, intellectual environment. At just 13, Burr enrolled at Princeton and graduated at 16. He joined the Continental Army and served with distinction. But unlike Hamilton, Burr never earned George Washington's favor. That slight, real or perceived, stayed with him. After the war, Burr turned to politics, becoming a U.S. Senator from New York, and eventually Vice President of the United States under Thomas Jefferson. Ambitious, charismatic, and cunning, Burr was a master of political maneuvering. But where Hamilton championed ideology, Burr was a pragmatist. Where Hamilton saw public service, Burr often saw opportunity. Their personal rivalry grew with every election, every speech, and every slight. Though once comrades during the Revolution, Hamilton and Burr had become bitter political rivals. Hamilton believed in a strong central government and leadership by an educated elite. He feared populism and distrusted men who pursued power without principle. To Hamilton, Aaron Burr represented everything dangerous in a democracy. Burr, meanwhile, saw Hamilton as arrogant and power-hungry, a man who blocked him at every turn. Their rivalry deepened during the presidential election of 1800. That year, Burr and Jefferson tied in electoral votes, throwing the election to the House of Representatives. Though Hamilton disliked Jefferson, he despised Burr even more. He urged Federalists to support Jefferson, calling Burr unprincipled and untrustworthy. Jefferson won the presidency. Burr, humiliated, became vice president, a powerless position. Burr never forgot the betrayal, but he remained silent, watching and waiting. In 1804, Burr ran for governor of New York, hoping to regain political influence. Once again, Hamilton campaigned against him, warning others of Burr's ambition and lack of principle. A newspaper published a letter quoting Hamilton's harsh words about Burr. He reportedly said he had a despicable opinion of Aaron Burr. Burr was furious. He demanded a retraction, a public apology. Hamilton refused. He would not apologize for words he believed to be true. With his honor at stake, Burr made a fateful decision. He challenged Hamilton to a duel, a deadly ritual of pride and revenge. Dueling was illegal in New York, but still practiced among gentlemen in private. Hamilton, though morally opposed to dueling, felt trapped by custom and expectation. If he declined, he would be branded a coward and his political influence would vanish. He told his friends he would not aim at Burr. He would fire wide, to satisfy honor but avoid blood. Still, he accepted the challenge. The time, place, and weapons were quietly arranged. At dawn on July 11, 1804, two men would meet on the banks of the Hudson River. One would fire to kill, the other, perhaps, would fire only to prove a point. A lifetime of rivalry, ideology, and wounded pride had come to this, a duel at dawn. Before sunrise on July 11, 1804, two boats quietly crossed the Hudson River from Manhattan. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were on their way to a secluded dueling ground in Weehawken, New Jersey. Dueling was illegal in New York. New Jersey's laws were more lenient yet still dangerous. Hamilton was accompanied by his trusted friend and second, Nathaniel Pendleton, and a doctor. Burr was joined by his own second, William P. Van Ness. Both men brought loaded flintlock pistols. Hamilton had told his second the night before he would not aim to kill. He opposed dueling morally, but believed declining would destroy his honor and legacy. The men arrived on a wooded bluff above the river, quiet, isolated, heavy with tension. The pistols were presented. The ground was paced out 10 full steps. There were no final words. No conversation between the opponents, just silence. "Are you ready?" Pendleton called out. Both men gave their nod. "Present," came the command. Both men raised their pistols 10 paces apart. According to some accounts, Hamilton fired first, deliberately shooting high into the air. Others Sabre fired first, his bullet striking Hamilton in the lower abdomen. Hamilton staggered back, collapsing against a boulder, his face pale, his hands trembling. The bullet had torn through his liver and spine, leaving him gravely wounded and in agony. Burr stepped forward, shocked and frozen for a moment, then he turned and walked away. Pendleton and the doctor rushed to Hamilton's side, lifting him gently onto a stretcher. He was rowed back across the Hudson to Manhattan, slipping in and out of consciousness. Word spread quickly. Alexander Hamilton had been shot in a duel. The city held its breath. He was taken to the home of a friend. His family was summoned. Eliza rushed to his bedside. Hamilton whispered final words to his children. He forgave Burr. He asked for peace. For over 30 hours, he clung to life, writhing in pain, surrounded by loved ones. On July 12, 1804, at around 2 p.m., Alexander Hamilton died. The nation mourned. Churches rang their bells. Crowds gathered in silence. Hamilton was buried in Trinity Church Cemetery, honored as a founding father. Aaron Burr, meanwhile, became a fugitive charged with murder, though never tried. He finished his term as vice president in disgrace, politically ruined and publicly hated. In that moment by the river, one bullet ended a life and another destroyed a career. The duel at Weehawken remains one of the most infamous chapters in American history. The death of Alexander Hamilton sent shockwaves through the young American Republic. He was mourned as a brilliant mind, a founding father, and a man of conviction. Thousands attended his funeral in New York, their grief echoing through the streets. Church bells rang across the city as Hamilton was laid to rest in Trinity Churchyard. Eliza Hamilton, now a widow with 7 children, bore her pain with quiet strength. She wore black for the rest of her life and worked tirelessly to preserve her husband's legacy. She helped found the first private orphanage in New York, in Hamilton's honor. Meanwhile, Aaron Burr faced the full weight of public condemnation. He was charged with murder in both New York and New Jersey, though never brought to trial. His political career collapsed. He finished his term as vice president in silence and shame. He wandered the country for years, broke, bitter, and haunted by his past. In 1807, Burr was arrested again, this time for allegedly plotting treason against the United States. He stood trial but was acquitted. Still, his reputation never recovered. Once a rising star, Burr died in 1836 in obscurity and isolation. Hamilton, in contrast, grew larger in death than he had in life. He helped create the American financial system, founded the Coast Guard, and defended the Constitution. Generations later, his face would appear on the $10 bill, a symbol of his enduring impact. In Weehawken, a small plaque marks the spot where the fatal duel occurred. Tourists still visit, imagining the moment two giants of history faced off at dawn. Their conflict of ideals, ambition, and honor shaped the fate of a young nation. Hamilton's legacy is one of vision and sacrifice. Burr's is a cautionary tale of pride and loss. Their story remains a tragic and timeless lesson in American history. Over 2 centuries have passed since Hamilton and Burr faced each other in silence at Weehawken, yet their duel continues to echo through American memory, history, and even popular culture. What drove two of the nation's most powerful men to risk death on a quiet bluff by the Hudson? Was it honor, ego, political legacy, or the tragic failure to reconcile disagreement peacefully? Today, the duel site at Weehawken is marked by a simple stone plaque, nearly hidden by trees. Tourists still visit, pausing in silence, imagining the tension that once filled that clearing. Nearby, the Hudson River flows unchanged, a witness to both greatness and tragedy. Hamilton is remembered today as a visionary, a nation builder, and a symbol of ambition. His writings, institutions, and even the American dollar carry his legacy forward. Burr remains a figure of paradox, brilliant yet broken, ambitious yet forgotten. His story warns of how a single moment can alter a lifetime and a nation's memory. Modern historians still debate who was right and who was wrong, or whether it even matters. What matters more is what we learn, that democracy is fragile and character defines legacy. From textbooks to Broadway musicals, their names live on, forever linked by 10 paces and 1 shot. And so, history whispers through the trees of Weehawken, telling a tale of pride, principle, and fate. The duel is over, but the questions it raises, about power, honor, and nation, still remain.